All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me. For this evening, we're going to be doing some dictation practice. I will read some sentences to you, and all you have to do is write what you hear, okay? After that, I will put the answers on the board so you can see whether or not your sentences are correct, okay? All right, let me just send a reminder to some people to join. All right, perfect. So again, we're going to be doing dictation practice, and you are simply going to write what you hear, okay? Now, many of these words are difficult to spell in English, but that's why you're here. You're here to learn how to spell these words, okay? So the first sentence, and please listen very carefully, I will repeat each sentence 2 times, okay? The first sentence says, the entrepreneur developed an innovative strategy. The entrepreneur developed an innovative strategy to expand his business internationally. To expand his business internationally, period. Okay, so I'm going to put the first sentence on the whiteboard. So it says the entrepreneur developed an innovative strategy to expand his business internationally. Okay, so that is the first sentence. And let me make sure you can see it. Okay, so the entrepreneur developed an innovative strategy to expand his business internationally. Okay, and you can't see this word because of the light, but it's HIS. All right, so first of all, an entrepreneur is someone who owns his or her own business. Okay, so if you start a business and you work for yourself, you are an entrepreneur, and that is the way it is spelled. All right. And then innovative has 2 N's. Strategy, very easy to spell. And then with business, the I in business is silent because it's not busyness, it is business. All right. So the entrepreneur develops an innovative strategy to expand his business internationally. All right. We're now ready for sentence number 2, and feel free to put your sentences in the chat because the more you write English, the easier and the quicker you learn it. Okay. So it may be a little bit difficult, but please give it a try. All right. The second sentence says his philosophy emphasized the importance of collaboration, and transparency with all stakeholders. And transparency with all stakeholders. So again, his philosophy emphasized the importance of collaboration and transparency with all stakeholders. Okay, so I'm going to now put that sentence on the board. Right? It says his philosophy emphasized the importance of collaboration and transparency with all stakeholders. Okay. All right. So in that sentence, there are a couple of vocabulary words I need to point out that you probably don't know. And if you know them, then wonderful. All right. So philosophy starts with a P. In many languages like Spanish, it starts with an F, filosofia, right? But in English, the PH sound also has an F sound. So his philosophy emphasized the importance, and I'm going to turn that light off because it's making you not able to see what's on the board. There we go. His philosophy emphasized the importance of collaboration and transparency with all stakeholders. So, collaboration is just working together, and that is a cognate because it looks almost the same in Spanish, French, and a lot of other languages. Collaboration is working together, and transparency is just making it clear all of what you're doing. So his philosophy emphasized the importance of collaboration and transparency with all stakeholders. And stakeholders are usually the people involved in a company. So the clients, the owner, all of those people would be considered the stakeholders. Okay. And this is a very common word. So please add it to your vocabulary journals if you have them, because this is a word people use a lot when they are speaking English. All right. Next, good evening, Whistler. I'm just seeing your message. The next sentence says, and please write, after a series of meticulous calculations, after a series of meticulous calculations, he determined that the investment would yield substantial returns over time. He determined that the investment would yield substantial returns over time. So the entire sentence again. After a series of meticulous calculations, he determined that the investment would yield substantial returns over time. Okay. And this one, I'm going to put it in the chat in the interest of time because it takes a little bit of time to write the sentence on the board. Okay. So please look in the chat for this answer. Okay. After a series of meticulous calculations, he determined that the investment would yield substantial returns over time. All right. So the word meticulous means detailed. Meticulous means detailed. All right. So after a series of meticulous calculations, he determined that the investment would yield, it would give, or it would create substantial returns over time. In this context, return is not what you necessarily know it to be. Like I go to visit Barbados and I return to my country. In this case, it's a profit. A profit. Okay. So, for example, you invest some money, you invest $1,000, and within 5 months, it becomes $2,000. Then you have returns. Your money has grown. Okay. So, after a series of meticulous calculations, he determined that the investment would yield substantial returns over time. Okay. All right, we have two more sentences and then we will be done for this evening. And the next sentence says, despite facing numerous challenges, please write, despite facing numerous challenges, comma, he remained determined to succeed. He remained determined to succeed, comma, knowing that perseverance, knowing that perseverance was essential for overcoming obstacles. Knowing that perseverance was essential for overcoming obstacles. All right, so the entire sentence again. Despite facing numerous challenges, comma, he remained determined to succeed, comma, knowing that perseverance was essential for overcoming obstacles, period. Okay, so now I'm going to also put this sentence in the chat so you can check and see if your sentence is exactly as mine is. Okay. All right, there you have it. Despite facing numerous challenges, he remained determined to succeed, knowing that perseverance was essential for overcoming obstacles. The adjective numerous means many. Numerous is an academic way to say many. All right. So I have numerous responsibilities, for example, is the same as saying I have many responsibilities. So despite facing numerous challenges, and challenges are often problems, difficulties, right? He remained determined to succeed. And succeed, sometimes people spell it with one C, but the correct spelling is with two C's and two E's. So he remained determined to succeed, knowing that perseverance, and when you persevere, you have something within you that tells you to keep going. So even though you're facing difficulties, you're having difficulties, you continue doing what you have to do. That is perseverance. All right. So knowing that perseverance was essential for overcoming obstacles. And obstacles is a synonym for challenges. They're pretty much the same thing. All right. Okay. We are going to continue with the last two sentences. And we begin. His vision was clear, colon. His vision was clear, colon. To create a revolutionary product, to create a revolutionary product that would transform the industry. That would transform the industry, period. So his vision was clear, colon, to create a revolutionary product that would transform the industry. Okay. And again, please look in the chat so you can see what the sentence looks like. All right. His vision was clear, colon, and the colon is just two dots. This is what we call the colon in English, two dots. And those two dots are usually placed before a list. For example, if I went to the store and bought the following products, I would put a colon after products, provided that I'm going to list what I bought, right? So I went to the store and bought the following products, colon, oranges, apples, and bananas. So we place the colon prior to a list, and we also place it prior to an explanation, which is what we're doing in this case. It says his vision was clear, colon, to create a revolutionary product, and a product that is revolutionary is something that has never really been seen before, okay, that would transform the industry. And what is a synonym for the verb transform? Please put your answers in the chat. What is a synonym for transform? His vision was clear to create a revolutionary product that would transform the industry. What is a synonym for the verb transform? Please write your answers in the chat. Anybody? All right. In the interest of time, transform means to change. To change. All right. That is one of the best synonyms for transform. Okay. Last sentence. As he navigated complex regulations, comma, as he navigated complex regulations, comma, he kept an eye on emerging trends that could potentially affect the market, period. That could potentially affect the market, period. So the entire sentence again. As he navigated complex regulations, comma, he kept an eye on emerging trends that could potentially affect the market. All right. And I'm going to place the sentence in the chat as per usual. And I want you to check your sentence and see if there are any errors. Okay. So as he navigated complex regulations, he kept an eye, and kept is the past tense of keep. He kept an eye. When you keep an eye on something, you continue to monitor it. So that is an idiomatic expression. To keep an eye on something means to monitor that thing. All right. So let me write that for your benefits. To keep an eye on means to monitor. Okay. And my head is in the way. All right. So, as he navigated complex regulations, he kept an eye on emerging trends that could potentially affect the market. Okay. Now, a trend, what is a trend? It's a very important word. All right, note takers. There are quite a few of you on here. So please answer the questions. And no answer is foolish. It just requires an effort, right? To learn English and to perfect our writing, we have to put ourselves out there, okay? So a trend is like a pattern, a pattern. All right. As he navigated complex regulations, and regulations are rules, by the way. That's another word for you. Regulations are rules. Okay. So as he navigated complex regulations, he kept an eye on. And as we said, to keep an eye on means to monitor. So instead of saying he kept an eye on, we could say he monitored complex regulations. Oh, no, sorry. He kept an eye on emerging trends that could potentially affect the market. Okay. All right. So thank you all for joining. I hope you found this beneficial and that you learned some new vocabulary words or expressions that you can add to your vocabulary. The information in the chat should remain there for as long as the video is on YouTube. So you can always go back and take notes if you need to. And always, always study something, because with learning any language, if you're not consistent, then it's going to be very difficult to learn the language properly. So please make sure you're doing something every day. You're listening to English, you're reading English, you are speaking English with people you encounter, and little by little, you will progress quite a bit. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you at the next YouTube Live.